Welcome, everyone, to the Pro Baseball Central podcast. This is Joe McDonald with you, and I am joined by the president and general manager of the Long Island Ducks, Michael Pfaff. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing well, Joe. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So we're live here at Bethpage Ballpark as the Ducks are playing the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. And there's been a number of changes this year in terms of your partnership with Major League Baseball, number of rule implementations. How have they worked out so far?
Well, the Atlantic League entered into a partnership with Major League Baseball prior to the start of the season, and there were 6 rule changes implemented at the beginning of the season and 2 additional after the All-Star break. And I think the one that's got most of the attention is the automated balls and strikes. Major League Baseball for many years has heard a lot about the game, the commissioner's office, in terms of pace of play and ways to improve the game, and there have been a lot of ideas coming from the Major League Baseball commissioner's office, and I think that in their position it was difficult to envision implementing rule changes across 230 minor league clubs and different leagues, or choosing one affiliated league out of the many they have. And they saw a league like the Atlantic League, which features many former major leaguers, a lot of AAA and AA talent, but a high level of play, and closely held, I should say, where it's only 8 teams in the circuit. And it makes the ability to test out these rules on a high level of play a lot easier for them and a lot easier to control. So the partnership was one where Major League Baseball saw an opportunity, and as did the Atlantic League. And we are now in our 4th month of the project, and I think to this point things have gone very well.
So you already mentioned the automated balls and strikes, which basically tells the umpire if it's a ball or a strike.
Right.
You've also had other rule changes. The size of the bases changed to 18 inches from 15 inches. How's that been worked out?
I really haven't heard anything about that other than positives when mentioned. It's a safety issue. I think that it's done nothing but receive positive reviews.
Do you think it's caused more offense, like more infield hits closer?
Well, Major League Baseball stated that the reason for most of these rules is because they want to see more action, more balls in play, more offense, and ultimately, the potential for more runs scored. But more action, more offense and action on the field are the goals of the project. And to me, I think that we have seen more of that. I think that we've played a lot of exciting baseball games this year. I don't know if pace of play has been affected in a positive way. Mm-hmm. Last night we played a 2-hour and 31-minute game. I think the night before was 3 hours. So, it's still the same variance that we've always had. But I'd be interested to see the results at the end of the year.
How about the stealing first base, which got a little newsworthiness when you first started doing it?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of coverage about that. I think it's another attempt to try and create more action on the base paths. And if you can start from home plate creating action on the base paths, you've started it earlier. And, again, it speaks to the need for more action in the game and the desire, at least from the Major League Commissioner's office, to see if implementing that rule can help achieve that goal.
Now, moving along to your team. You guys are actually having a banner season. You won the first half. You're in first place in the second half. You've lost a number of players. Is it Wally? What is it that's keeping the Ducks going along?
Yeah, well, thank you for noticing. We won the first half, clinched a playoff spot. We've lost 15 players to Major League Baseball and foreign organizations this year, which is a record for us. We've never lost that many in a season. We are in first place in the second half of the season. We have the best overall record, and you have to give Wally Backman a lot of credit for that. He's the manager. He's the guy down on the field dealing with all the changes in the roster and trying to put people in positions to succeed. So we'll certainly give Wally a tremendous amount of credit for being the even hand and seeing us on the field through those roster changes.
And having Wally here, the Ducks this year had a very New York Mets look to them. You had Kurt Neuenhuis, you had Matt Dendecker, a few others. Pedro Bieto was there. I guess L.J. Mazzilli was a minor leaguer.
Sure. I mean, we definitely had more of a Mets flavor this year than we have in the past. We've had ex-Mets previously. Obviously, Bud Harrelson is a founding partner of the Ducks with Frank Bolton, and Buddy was the manager here in the first year, and he's obviously a well-known, former Met. But, we've had a lot of former Mets. However, Kirk Neuenhuis and Matt Dendecker came here because of Wally, the relationship he had with them. He had managed them in the Mets farm system, and when they were free agents, he had brought their names up, and we thought that it would be a good idea to bring them on board. They're definitely players that we thought could have success here, and Neuenhuis earned an all-star selection, and Dendecker was playing well. Unfortunately, both decided to retire. But players decide when they get to that point, and each of them made that decision this season.
So you have about 3 weeks left in the season?
Yes.
And then the playoffs start for you. Can people buy playoff tickets now?
Joe, it's such a great question. You always know the right question to ask. Yes, playoff tickets are on sale right now at liducks.com or by calling 631-940-TIXX. And you feel confident when the playoffs start? You think we have a good team. We've filled the spots that were open by the player signings with some really good players, and the team is in first place in the second half right now. So that tells you everything you need to know. You didn't see a huge drop off from the first half when we had all the players signed. We lost our last player just a week ago, but at this rate, we'll be right there in the running for the second half division, and you don't do that without good players.
And a lot of times I know you guys get players back because the minor league seasons end and they come back here for the playoffs. So are you looking at a few of the players coming back?
I in a selfish way, I hope so, but in a non-selfish way, I hope not. I hope they stick with the organizations they're with and they, continue to advance. We saw Tim Melville, who started the season with us, make 2 starts for the Colorado Rockies to date. Yesterday, he went 5 scoreless against the Braves. He pitched 7 innings, allowed 1 run in his 2019 big league debut. So, we've seen guys go to the big league level, and I want to keep seeing it,
All right, Mike. I appreciate your time. So this is Mike Pfaff with me at the Pro Baseball Central podcast. This is Joe McDonald, and we'll be with you next time with another podcast probably from Citi Field later this week.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
No problem, Mike.